Hey, what's up folks? Welcome back to the channel. Good to see y'all. I'm going to do something a little bit different today for this video, and the first part of it is I'm going to use my iPhone to make this a little bit easier. So if the audio feels like it's being captured by the iPhone, it is. But it's something really cool, and Bandit's even excited. So what we're going to do is basically build my creation pedal board. So I opted for the flat series board with a tier. So it is a 24 by 14 flat board and an 18 inch, and I think it's 4 or 5 or maybe that's 6 inches, 18 by 6 inches tier. I can't remember off the top of my head, but regardless, what's nice about this, and I've never used a board with like the tier kind of thing. I've always just had pedal trains like most of us, but I'm a big boy now. And I wanted to try something different. I bought a Walrus Audio Canvas 15. So it's the 15 power supply, and that's gonna be under the tier along with my niche device Humboldt, which is basically my always on compressor. And then I've got fuzz, a wah pedal, and a bunch of other fun stuff. So what I wanna do right now is start by just showing you the board, and then we will slowly kind of wire everything up and Velcro everything to this board. And I'm gonna be learning along with you because I've never done this before. I'm so used to having every bar of the pedal train just covered with loop Velcro. But this is like a blank slate. It's all just like flat surface. There's no Velcro on it. So I either need to decide, how do I wanna put the Velcro? Do I wanna have just like 4 pieces of Velcro in each place where each of these pedals is gonna go? Considering that I am the kind of guy that is constantly changing pedals on and off his pedal board, I kind of want to cover the whole thing in loop Velcro, but I don't think I'm gonna do that right now because I got a bunch of goodies that we can make things nice and neat. So without further ado, let's switch over to the overhead view and we'll get started. All right. Voila, this is how the board is going to look once it's complete. There's no Velcro down on the board at this moment, but just to kind of talk a little bit through. So what we're going to do is probably going to hit the fuzz first, and then the fuzz will go to the Humboldt, which is under here, a sneaky little spot. And then the compression will go to the wah will go to the drop. The drop will go to the double barrel. The double barrel will also have the red remote switch to engage the high gain setting on the blues breaker side of this pedal. And then the Tube Screamer TS9, Octosi, then over to the 29 pedals Una, and then the Washa, the Rotary, and the Oracle. Now, the biggest, I guess, thought with this stuff is how I want to, do the Velcro on the board itself. So first, figuring that out. So let's do this. There's going to be a lot of speed up and slow down of this video, so a lot of time lapse stuff. So let's take these off, and I'm going to get the Velcro situation squared away. All right, we got a blank slate. Now I took the screws out. This hinges to reveal this. So what I think I'm going to do is first I'm going to put the power supply Velcro on, and then the Humboldt, and let's get that situated right off the bat. Now I did have leftover Velcro from my pedal train. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use this for the adhesive for the power supply. This is the dual lock I usually buy. It's just like 1-inch strip stuff. And then what I do is I usually cut it up. I'll like look at the pedal like this, and I'll probably just eyeball it. So cut across here. Try to get it as straight as possible. It won't be, but I'll usually try to get as straight as possible. All right, now I'm gonna shut up and I'll put this on here. Cool. So that's not gonna go anywhere with that dual lock on there. That's not going anywhere. All right, now, here's the thing. I already have dual lock on this pedal as I do most of my pedals. So I'm gonna need to create a small piece, which I'll probably just use this since I have it. Usually when you see people build boards like this, I'm used to seeing just them using small pieces of Velcro to attach. Now, what we're gonna do is I have very little loop. So if you don't know the difference between hook and loop, loop is the soft carpety stuff that you're used to seeing. Hook is the like dual lock stuff, the white stuff I was just using. Let's just get this, we're gonna try to get this squared away and use as little of this as possible. I think, you know, we may be able to pull off some miracles here, but if I can just, yeah, if I can get these attached, I'm gonna put it right on here. Because I think that makes sense. A little square here. All right, voila, look, got everything is Velcroed on. Those are staying. These are all in there nice and snug. Nothing is moving at all, minus this, which I could take the feet off of this and then just put the screws back and put a piece here and a piece here, which I probably will. But I need more Velcro, and I didn't want to use it on this before I did all of this, because that is something that I can just take care of. I might just go to Home Depot or something and get, or Lowe's. I prefer Lowe's. But anyway, so what I want to do now is wire everything up, and then what I'll do is I will run patch cables. That is wired up. Everything is wired up and should work. So let's have a little plug and see what happens. See if everything shines and lights up and goes boom, boom. I just plugged it in. Things seem to be lighting up. I love it when everything comes together. All right. Let's plug it in. All right. We're all wired up here. Everything. Oh, that's super cool. I didn't know that, but on the Walrus power supply, there are lights above each input that you have plugged in. So that lets you know what's on and what's not. That's helpful, especially on a dark stage. That's cool. Awesome. Anyway, we're going through the Tone King Sky King right now. And we got signal and everything, so let me just go through the chain. So the Una is on, but let me turn that off, and I'll add it when we get to that in the chain. I'll go through the order of the chain. So here's with no pedals on. This is completely bypassed. And that sounds great. Sometimes when you have this much cable and everything and you're running through, it's nice that we have this isolated power and all that, but sometimes when you've got this much cable, this many pedals, sometimes your tone can get a little bit sucked. So that's not happening. But if it did, that's what the 29 is for, and that's what this niche device is for. This is first in the chain though, so here we go. All right, this is fuzz. Here's the wah pedal. I'm gonna have to step up a little bit because. Okay, that was the drop. Here's the double barrel. Here's the tube screamer side. Blues breaker side. TS9. Octosi fuzz. right, so check this out. Here's without the Una. That thing's magic, man. It just brings back in all the harmonics and all the like juicy stuff that you lose as you make your way through the path. So that's an always on too. So that could have also gone underneath had I had a bigger, I could have probably gotten a bigger tier that came all the way across or almost all the way across and then put the fuzz up top. But I don't know, man. This is working. So, I mean, I couldn't be happier with this. Obviously, I will probably at some point figure out a way to make things a little bit neater in terms of cable runnage and all that stuff. I will also say, and I want to give a big shout out to pedalplayground.com, I think is what it is. Because when I was looking at getting a new pedal board and putting this together, it's a great online tool that you can go in and you can actually look up by company the different pedal boards like Schmidt Array, Creation, Pedal Train, so forth and so on. And then you can look up manufacturers for pedals and like fit them onto your board. It's a really helpful tool. And for me, it made all the difference in the world because I was able to go in, spec out how big of a board I want to use. The reason I bought this size is I have a Pedal Train, I think it's a Pedal Train 2, but it's like this size. It's like 24 inches wide kind of thing. And I wanted to still be able to use that case, that hard case for this pedal board. So if I was going to be using my Pedal Train board for like another gig, whether it's an acoustic gig, because I might go out and get like a new loop station and build a pedal board specifically for acoustic guitar. But if I did that, then I would be able to kind of swap these back and forth and protect the pedals. They do make cases. Creation does make cases. I just didn't want to spring for that because I spent a couple $100 on just getting this stuff. So all in all, I would say their stuff is very affordable. You do have to drill into the board to attach the tier, which wasn't too complicated really at all. I mean, you really just need to look where you want to place it. You just drill through, and you don't need it to even be like, you know, size to thread through. It just needs to be big enough for that screw to pop through, because on the other side, on the underneath, there's a bracket and there are nuts holding that on. So that's really easy. The screws come out so you can tilt this. I'm going to put those back in after this. I'm very, very happy. Very, very happy. I'm sorry that this was a long video, guys. I know it was, and I apologize for that. I'm going to do my best to, hopefully I did my best as this goes up to trim it down a bit, but it was, I'm sure it was long. So, all right, guys, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. See you next time.